Hello and welcome to this week's pet pairing. We actually have things to talk about, so gather my children. We need to have an emergency meeting. I'm just going to start doing my makeup so we don't waste any time. I'm going to apply my eyeshadow primer, the Inglot Eyeshadow Keeper. I feel pretty blindsided by this new collection from Pat McGrath. Did you guys see it coming? Because I did not. I kind of thought that we were done with the spring release with the Divine Bronze collection. We got a bunch of bronzers, we got a new quad, and I thought, okay, now some chill time, some downtime, you know, time to appreciate and reflect until the new mothership comes. And then all of a sudden she starts sprouting these like inspiration photos, and she secretly sneaks in Naomi Campbell using a completely new product for the Met Gala. I think a lot of you caught it that when she was sharing, I think, reels from makeup looks that Pat McGrath's team had done for the Met Gala. There was one where Naomi Campbell whipped out this stick pink packaging, which supposedly was a new product. And if I'm being honest, my first thought was, oh, it's just one of those like highlighty balms or some sort of a hybrid of a balm and lip product. I don't know. Some balmy product that goes both on your face and on your lips. And she has previously released, you know, limited edition, sort of like funkier types of highlighter stick balms, taking the L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper. So I figured we're getting something like this, like one of those like one-off products that personally I don't have much interest in. But then she continued sharing inspo images with a lot of imagery she had previously used. Well, not necessarily for the blush collection. I've actually seen those images also when she was releasing maybe Utopian Dream. I don't know. We've seen some of these images before, and I still didn't really expect that much would be going on, but at one point she had that teaser video where the camera went over a number of products in like a long stick form, and I was like, wait, are we getting cream blushes in the same year that we're getting bronzer? That's kind of epic. Honestly, not the worst idea in the world. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was hoping that eventually we are going to get a cream formula from her. I am going to take a little bit of the Glow Last by Auric to apply underneath my eyes, because I'm still trying to make fetch happen with that Huda Beauty concealer, but I really need to properly prep my eyes. I've been hoping for a cream blush release ever since the powder blush is released, and we knew that it would be coming at some point. It's just coming a little bit sooner, I feel like, than we all thought. I think the biggest surprise with this collection was that it isn't just the 6 stick blushes. So she's releasing 6, let me see what she calls them again. I went back to check. The imagery for the collection, even though it's pink and full of roses, honestly it looks really, really cute to me. Anyway, a completely unrelated note. My Instagram has been refusing to update my feed, I feel like, for the past couple of days. Every time I open my Instagram now, I see the exact same posts, and then he says that I am all caught up within a few seconds, which probably isn't the case because I don't think I've been updated since 4 or 5 days ago, so I don't really know what to do. I don't know if I need to uninstall the app or just sign out and then sign back in. I don't know what's going on. It's really weird. Anyway, moving on to foundation, where I'm going to go on another side ramble here. I'm taking the Dior Backstage foundation, which I usually use in the summer because I feel like it is a little bit darker when I'm in my winter, you know, attire in terms of complexion of my face. And now that I've been in the sun for a couple of days, I think this foundation fits me again. This is the shade 2N, by the way. This is another relatively old foundation. I bought this in 2020 that I would really like to finish up this year, which won't be difficult because I actually really, really like this foundation. But to my horror, Dior's decided to reformulate a bunch of their staple products. I don't know whether you guys have seen this already, but they've reformulated their eyeshadows for the queens, which seems very unnecessary, and from what I have seen so far, it doesn't seem like the formula has improved. In fact, evidence would suggest towards the opposite, because I've seen people who are not too pleased with the new formulation, with the new design of the packaging. Just, it's not, from what I understand, it's not bad. It's just not as good as the ones before. I saw Sophia C's Beauty compare the soft cashmere, I was going to say Dior cashmere, soft cashmere, the new one and the old one, and I can tell you for a fact I 100% prefer the old one. The Eyeshadows are slightly different tones, especially the metallic shade is a completely different tone in my opinion. The one in the old soft cashmere is beautiful. It's a very unique, like cooler toned metallic shade, metallic taupe shade, whereas the new one is a little bit pinkier, and because of that I feel like a bit more generic. I am not a fan. And now I've heard that they are also reformulating this foundation, which is glorious. I think they're going to... Why Dior? This is a beautiful formula that absolutely doesn't need to be reformulated. I mean, they're not reformulating it to make it better. They are reformulating because Dior is moving towards a clean beauty direction, whatever the fuck that means. But in the process, they're ruining some of our staples. So it's a shame because I actually really, really like this foundation. It melts beautifully onto the skin. It looks very natural. It is a little bit more matte compared to a lot of my other light to medium coverage foundations, which have a little bit more luminosity to them, but it is a really, really beautiful finish on the skin. I really like this foundation. I'm really bummed out that they're going to ruin it. Anyway, I'm going to now do a little mix of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer and the deeper shade of my Bendy Avocado Concealer. Shall we go back to talking about the collection though, because that's what you're here for. So the collection is called, that's what I was going to say 15 minutes ago, it's called the Divine Blush Color Balm Collection, and like I said, it comes with 6 of these color balm stick blushes, which I think are also meant to be used on the lips. For a bizarre reason, I don't do makeup on various parts of my face. It just has one designation, my cheeks or my lips. It doesn't go on both. So I will be purchasing these to use on my face, not on my lips. But we're getting 6 of those, that's what I was saying, in a variety of different colors, like very summer appropriate colors. And the biggest surprise was the quad. She's releasing a new quad in the style of Voyeuristic Vixen and Venusian Sunrise, which is called the Luxe Eyeshadow Quad in Passion Fluor. And by the looks of it, this quad actually has 3 metallic shades, and they seem to be the really sparkly Rosefire Nectar type of shades. At least 2 of them, I think, seem to have that kind of texture. So I'm actually quite excited that I think I will like this quad more than Venusian Sunrise. I'm also going to take the Dior Backstage Powder, also in the shade 2N. I think these 2 products actually work really well together. I was of course mostly looking forward to the flaky shade in Venusian Sunrise, and I don't want to say that I was disappointed, but it's just not a very exciting shade. It's so blah and one-dimensional in my personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Other people may find this shade a lot more exciting than I do. But anyway, because of that, I think I'm much more excited about this new quad. And even though I am not a pink person, I actually think the packaging is rather cute. I like the cute pink sticks. I like the cute pink outer packaging of the new quad. So I am actually quite excited about this whole collection. And I'm thinking, let's just stick with the Dior theme also for the bronzer. So I'm going to take my new bronzer from Dior. This is the Dior Forever Natural Bronze in the shade 08 Deep Bronze, which is a relatively deep bronzer shade for me, but it has this beautiful neutral, slightly red leaning undertone, and I actually quite like it. Anyway, so I don't think that she has quite announced yet when exactly this collection is releasing. My expectation is that towards the end of the current week, she's going to announce that the products will be released next week, Thursday or Friday, so that's either the last day of May or already one of the first days of June, something of the sorts. And I am going to be picking up 2 of those stick cream blushes, and I'm definitely going to be picking up the Luxe Quad. And the shades of the blush that I'm planning on picking up, let me tell you. The first shade, so that is the shade Peach Lotus, which is described as a soft peach coral. And I'm also going to pick up Sun-Kissed Seduction, which is a warm sienna. Of course I'm going to pick it up because it's a warm sienna. So I already looked up on the website what the prices of these will be, and they're not going to be as expensive as her powder blushes. I think these are going to be something in the ballpark of like, I think 28 euros off the top of my head. And then the Luxe Quad is going to be the regular price, so Yep, I'm excited. She also already has announced what the bundles are going to be, and there is a bundle with a quad and a blush, so I think I'm just going to get one of those bundles and then an extra blush. For my blush, I'm going to keep it a little bit cooler toned, and I'm going to grab Flirtatious from Pat McGrath. I am a masochist, so obviously I will once again attempt to get the products with her express shipping. In a predictable masochist style, I will keep hoping that one of those days I am actually going to get expressly shipped products. But anyway, what are you guys planning on picking up from this collection? Were you very surprised? Are you excited about it? What do you think about it? Please do share your thoughts with me. I'm going to take now the Lunar Nude highlighter to complete my face makeup, and then we can move on to the eye look. Taking my MAC Fix Plus and my spongy sponge here from Real Techniques to set the powders on my face. Oh, also I mentioned in my previous video that I was interested in picking up the new Lovegasm face palette from Charlotte Tilbury, but now with the release of the Divine Blush Collection Part 2 from Pat McGrath, I'm sort of doubting if I want to do that and whether it's a responsible choice to be buying so much blush again. I don't think so. So I think for now I'm going to sit it out, also because I think Sophia said that that collection is exclusive to Charlotte Tilbury's website. We can shop from Charlotte Tilbury's website, I think no problemo, but I usually prefer to buy from Cult Beauty because you can always find some sort of a discount code for Cult Beauty, so I've not really bought anything from Charlotte Tilbury full price ever, I think. And I don't know that that's the case on Charlotte Tilbury's website. You probably have to wait for some sort of a promotion, and it's unlikely that it's going to be 20% off. So I am actually backtracking a little bit on my desire to purchase that Lovegasm palette, as beautiful and as appealing as it looks. Okay, you are zoomed in, and I've got my Subliminal and my Moonlit Seduction palettes. And I shall tell you what kind of a look we're going for today. I'm first going to go into Subliminal and pop the two mattes, the lighter brown matte and this sort of like deeper brown matte, crease and outer corner, of course. Then all over my lid I am going to be applying a shade that I started missing recently because I realized I haven't really used it in a hot minute, and that is this beautiful light purpley pastel, really sparkly shade. That's just going to go all over my lid without any sort of like base color. I've worn this shade before as a lid color and it is really beautiful. You can use it as a topper for other eyeshadows, but it actually looks really beautiful on its own. So that's what's going to go on my lid. And now I'm actually doubting, oh, you know what? Scratch that. We're going to use Ultimate Taupe, so the light brown from Subliminal. And I'm actually going to use this one on my outer corner because I like it better. And then we're going to use this one on my lid. And then in my inner corners, we are going to go right back into Subliminal and put Astral White here in my inner corners. I think that sounds really lovely in theory. Let's put it into practice. I'm taking a fluffy brush and going to the shade Ultimate Taupe, which is the lighter, sort of cooler toned brown in the Subliminal palette. Are there any other collections that you guys are excited about, that you have picked up recently? Something very, you know, hot and actually worth the hype? Because besides these two collections, I haven't really seen anything that I'm super excited about. But yet again, my Instagram hasn't really updated for like 4 or 5 days, so who's to say what kind of new releases I have missed on? I find it a little bit strange that Natasha Denona hasn't released a single palette this year. When was the last time she released a palette? The My Dream? Was it the My Dream palette? But that was already last year in the fall, I wanna say. She hasn't released an eyeshadow palette since. That is very strange. She's definitely due for an eyeshadow palette release. I don't purchase all of Natasha's palettes. I very much go about her releases on a release-to-release basis. I wouldn't necessarily call her formula my favorite. I think she has a solid, good formula. But I am more often, I feel like, drawn to her color stories, especially her more monochromatic stories, than really to her eyeshadow formula. I think in terms of eyeshadow formula, she is a little bit more, I don't want to say all over the place, but you never really know what kind of textures you're going to get. It may be just simple mattes and metallics. It may be that there are a few shades with like flakes and glitters in them, which are a little bit more interesting. So yeah, in terms of that, you never really know what you're going to get until the palette is released. And in terms of her color stories, I also find them, yeah, some of them I find really beautiful and really inspiring, but sometimes not necessarily something I need to have. For example, the one with the green and the pink, was that released after the My Dream? Okay, maybe she released quite a few palettes last year and now she's taking a chill pill. But that palette, the one that was an expansion on one of her minis, was it the Retro? And then the big one was called, like the midi size was called the Retro Glam, which everyone thought would be the original Retro, which the original Retro was like very like mauve purpley based. That palette I found really inspired, just not something that I necessarily needed, but something that I could admire from afar. One of her really interesting color stories. Anyway, going into Moonlit Seduction now, grabbing this darker shade on a pencil brush and going to do my typical sort of like winged out shape here in the outer corners of my eye. So anyway, that's all to say that I feel like Natasha is definitely due an eyeshadow palette release. And I'm excited to see what she's going to come out with, especially for the summer. The bronze palette remains one of my favorite like spring summer palettes to use. In fact, it is definitely time to bust it out. Maybe I can do like a week of Natasha Denona. I don't have that many palettes from Natasha, but I could probably do like 5 consecutive days of Natasha Denona palettes. Would you guys be down for that? I've got Glam, Bronze, Gold. What else? Oh yeah, and I also have the 2 Face Glam palettes, which are some of my favorites from her. So we're sitting at least 5 palettes here. Oh, I do also have the Mini Gold, but for whatever reason, I never really developed a very strong emotional connection to Mini Gold. It kept sitting in my drawer, making me feel really guilty. And now I've decided that someone else is going to be far happier owning that little palette, so I'm giving it away. Anyway, I'm going to take a little bit of glitter glue to pop on my lids. I am going to apply the purple shade as foiled as possible because I want it to look wet and metallic. Because these shades, these like more sparkly shades, depending on how you pick them up and how you apply them, are going to have a slightly different finish on the eyelids. For example, if you just apply this with your finger as a few flakes and you put it on very lightly, it will just be like an ethereal wash of a few flakes. Whereas if you were to do what I want to do now, which is grab a flat shader brush, pick up the shade, and then spritz your brush with Fix Plus, which is what I'm going to do now, I think this is going to apply a lot more foiled and more like a metallic eyeshadow than a topper, really. Yeah, look at that. This is exactly the kind of finish that I was going for. So I'm going to work that onto the lids. It is also going to minimize a little bit the fallout that you get from all the sparkles. So if you are someone who struggles with a lot of fallout from these eyeshadows, even when you apply them over a glitter glue or Pat's Intensify stick, then you can always do this like double trick, where you additionally spritz your brush with Fix Plus. But you should be warned that you are slightly going to change the appearance of the eyeshadow on your lids. Now I'm going back into Subliminal and going to pick up Astral White here to apply in my inner corner. And I am thinking a little bit about what would happen if I do actually apply a couple of flakes of Astral White over top of that purple from Moonlit Seduction. What do you guys think? Would that be completely outrageous, or would it really create a very special new shade? You know what? I need to know. Okay, I'm going to take just the tiniest bit of Astral White and apply the absolute lightest touch of that over top of that purple, because I think it's going to give it a really interesting shift. On my lower lash line, I'm sort of going to repeat what I did in my crease and outer corner. I'm going to take the taupe shade from Subliminal and run that here underneath my lower lashes. I am going to use the flat shader brush though to apply the dark brown shade, because then I'll have a bit more of a precise application, because I want it to just be here very close to the lashes and only in the outer edge of the eye, sort of to connect with the upper part of the eye and look a bit more seamless that way. Alright, here is the final look, a little bit zoomed out. I completed it with the Satin Allure in Negligee from Pat McGrath Labs, because I kind of felt like the eye look took a very wintry direction and I wanted to bring back a little bit of spring to the face, so I thought maybe a peachy nude would do the trick. And I kind of dig how this look turned out. I actually think it's really like ethereal, but at the same time a little bit smoky and seductive. Overall, I quite liked it. I'm curious what you thought about it. Let me know your thoughts on the new Divine Blush Cream Stick Balm, whatever it's called, collection. As usual, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!